So we get a lot of questions about this topic. Coach, how do I stop thumb flicking? Well, first off, you need to understand exactly why you're doing it. Here at the Shooting Guy, we talk a lot about how to hold the basketball and that we want symmetry over the center of the ball. So you spread your shooting hand out and get your hand underneath the ball with an even spread on each side of the center. Now, where we start with flicking with our thumb is generally because we're holding the ball off center and also that we're getting our elbows separated from each other. I know we've heard a lot about one elbow being underneath the ball, but I work a lot on the opposite elbow because I'm trying to take pressure off of the ball. The more my elbows separate up here, the more I'm going to have a tendency to push in. And if you can see the position of my right hand and my right arm now, if I remove my left side, the ball falls off. Now that's exaggerated so you can see it, but what happens from there is as I go to release, my mind knows that in order for me to shoot the ball straight, which is goal number one in shooting the ball well, in order to shoot it straight, that I have to get a force into the center of that ball. Now, if my hand isn't set up directly underneath the center or behind that ball, then I'm going to have to add a sideways force to offset how the ball is sitting in my shooting hand. So the easiest way to start is just to practice passing the ball to the basket or passing the ball. And it's interesting, whenever I do clinics and I'll have somebody come up and demonstrate with me, even people that have a really difficult time with their offhand or shooting with two hands, if we go out there and we just practice passing in that manner, pass it back and forth, everybody that plays can make that move. And what happens is if you practice passing the center here and having a quiet left hand, you'll be able to make that move without having your left hand be involved. Now, in order to help us get our left hand out of the shot, or our opposite hand, I should say, for the left-handed shooters, is I want to take my opposite shooting elbow and bring it closer to my side. Here's the natural way that your body works. If I let my this is my off arm, if I let that hang, in order for me to lift it up, all I need to do is bend my elbow and lift my shoulder. Now, if you notice, that puts me in a pretty darn good position to shoot the ball with no pressure from my left side. If I am bent over the top, my elbows are separated, and then I go to raise the ball, now I have the issue of not being under the center, and my left arm is out. So there's a natural push to try to get that ball to go straight as I'm going to release the shot. So when small kids are starting to play the game, we want to be careful on how we start teaching them to shoot. If we have big basketballs and put them on regular baskets and then put defense out in front of them, we're going to get a lot of crazy habits just to get the ball up there instead of learning how to make the best passing motion and shooting motion that they can grow into. And I also think that there's a lot of emphasis on having the ball up high in terms of release. That's not necessary. Even some of the best shooters in the world shoot it from about eye level. It just happens very quickly. Depending on the nature of the position that you're playing and how you're going to create space, your release point, where you're going to let the ball go from to start the ball towards the basket, changes. The farther away you are from the basket, generally the lower it will be. The more you get into traffic, the higher handed, so you can separate from the defense. So keep this in mind. When you want to take your offhand thumb out of your shot, the first place to go is get your shooting hand underneath the center of the ball, get the opposite elbow close to your side, lift up, and play from there. Once I'm able to raise the ball and not feel this side-to-side movement in the ball, raise it up here, it's nice and quiet, and now I'm ready to shoot, you're probably going to be able to take that offhand out of your shot. The next thing we want to do is make sure that we're set up and prepared to make that move at the earliest possible point. Here's what I mean. When I receive the ball, you've heard us talk about load that wrist. If my wrist is loaded here, it's very easy for me to get underneath and in the center of the ball quickly. I can then make sure I alleviate the pressure from my offhand and shoot it in one continuous motion with my shooting hand. So keep these things in mind. Go out there, and if your offhand thumb is a problem for you, start with your shooting hand in the center of the ball, get underneath it, get prepared, get that off elbow close to your side to help alleviate that pressure, and go to work.